Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, the show where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. Released in Japan, April 23rd, 2016. Americans got it January 27th, 2017. Not aired on Toonami, but Alex, this is your responsibility, so you explain it.
So I don't have a good excuse, genuinely. I enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! And I figured we did Pyramid of Light, and I was feeling a little nostalgic for Four Kids, and this is one of those like little reunion projects that the Four Kids voice actors did. So and I know how much Sam loves Yu-Gi-Oh! So
Oh
how
my.
could I deny Sam Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, a 2 hour feature film event. Um,
Yeah, for context, this is 1 minute longer than It's a Wonderful Life, and only 2 or 3 minutes shorter than both Fire Walk with Me and Clockwork Orange.
I do love that you just have that.
Which is insane for a Yu-Gi-Oh movie. I genuinely forgot that the movie was 2 hours long. I am going to be very honest and apologize. Genuinely forgot it was a 2 hour long movie.
I turned it on. I was looking at it. It was like, wait, 2 hours? That can't be right. Have I got like three versions together? Or something? No.
No, it's a 2 hour long movie with all of its like Seto Kaiba-ness and the fights. I always like for me like the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh that I always found fascinating, not necessarily good, but that I always found fascinating about Yu-Gi-Oh is that you actually are getting like the card mechanics, unlike Pokemon, where it's just like, oh, just do this move. Cool. Until
Yeah,
the other person. Um, yeah, whereas you actually do, and this is something that's, this isn't obviously exclusive to this movie. But yeah, it's always kind of fascinating. Like, okay, I'm going to now do this, and oh, you didn't factor in this card, and it's always interesting watching an action sequence in a Yu-Gi-Oh picture.
action sequence.
It's funny in this film because for some plot, basically Seto Kaiba wants to fight Atem again because he's not in Yugi's body anymore. Like, let's get on to this. This is a 20 years of Yu-Gi-Oh celebration project. In Japan, it is set 6 months after the manga ends. This
Yeah.
causes problems because the anime ended differently. Like, Kaiba was there for the final battle in the anime. He's not in the manga. So that's why the dub gets a bit weird with it at times, because the dub say, "Oh, it's a year after the anime ended." And then Kaiba's now acting like he kind of knows Atem because they were trying to patch that hole.
The the Four Kids dub is its own continuity, honestly, in my opinion. Like it's its own thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the funny thing about this is they have like this new guy come in who is called Diva, and his thing is the prana, their magical powers. Oh god, the prana! But very early on, they introduce my thing is dimension dueling, where you summon whatever you want without sacrificing cards now, and you take more damage. So basically, what it does is immediately goes, you know, all those early turns where you're like, I'm playing Celtic Guardian, sacrificing it to get that. We're not doing those. Now everyone plays their signature cards turn one.
So I think so in the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh, when they were still figuring out the card rules, they were kind of doing that kind of thing. But I also think Dimension, I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. I think Dimension summoning comes from I think Arc 5 or Zexal, like a later Yu-Gi-Oh series that was airing around this time. So probably Zexal.
This film is packed with references to everything that came, because this was in the era now where Yu-Gi-Oh had gone to the Sentai model of a different universe every time with a new mechanic. This is when we get like Pendulum Summon, XY Summon. We get the one where they're all on trains later on, which is coming a bit after this.
Card games on motorcycles when they're in the internet, like there's a
Yeah.
lot. Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot going on.
Yeah, I always found that fascinating. Pokemon, it was always pretty clean, right? It was like new region. Oh, cool. Like Yu-Gi-Oh is always kind of like, hey, you can do this now. New story.
Pokemon's never really added. There's a few it's added, but it's never added like dramatic numbers of mechanics to its TCG since then, which is probably why it's still so popular.
Yes. 100
Yeah.
maybe that's what I'll do for my next movie. Maybe Pokemon the movie 2000.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the basic plot of this movie, there are three plots to this movie, I would say. You have plot where Seto Kaiba is trying to resurrect the pharaoh so that he can duel with him again because he has not figured out therapy or how to deal with his grief. Then you have Diva's whole plot where Diva wants revenge on Bakura, kind of. And then we have like this other plot where the kids are graduating from high school and they're moving on with their lives. So it's all a very interesting spread of stuff happening all at the same time. I do just want to talk about the Four Kids dub really quickly because the Four Kids dub kind of got famous because of how weird and the extra stuff that they would throw in, and they do such a good job of catching that energy again, especially Joey's voice actor,
Sure.
who just every whenever his mouth is not on screen, there's always some kind of like weird aside he's going to throw in. Seto Kaiba has some of the best lines in the movie, genuinely. Like there's a lot of really fun stuff, and you can tell the Four Kids actors were so happy to come back and do this.
I'll be brutally honest. The Four Kids dub of this, I would say, is the better one. This film was clearly designed for American audiences. Is American audiences because all of the card text in English, even in the Japanese release. But the Japanese dialogue is rambly to the point of nonsense. They really go in. So Four Kids doesn't cut anything visually here. They cut some like dams to hex and some like more sexually suggestive lines. But whenever Diva is speaking in Japan, he's a rambly nonsense merchant. They really go into the power of what the prana is, and the prana is basically okay. So do you know the bit where he banishes Joey to the other world, where he
Yeah.
basically just says, "I'm going to kill you in this other world"? In Japan, this is what he says. No one will notice you here, Joey. I'll let you in on a secret. The world you see every day isn't your own. The spatial and temporal frequencies your brain perceives are shared with the residents of your world. This is called collective awareness. Simply put, people who perceive the school, city, and friends in your world on the same frequency unconsciously create a world like holographic images in space-time planes through mutual affirmation. The world you're in right now is composed of nothing but your own inner brain information. In other words, you have been shut off from accessing other people's inner brain information. And guess how much of this has any relevance to the ending of that sequence where Atem turns up and goes, actually, don't die, Joey. It would make a mess.
Goose egg.
Yeah. Like the entire thing is whenever he like threatens Kaiba, like, I'm going to send you to a lower dimension, one where you can, because Diva subscribes to string theory. So I'll put you in a dimension where you can see this world, but not the other world. It's like, oh God, shut up.
Anybody else smell copper from hearing this?
Yeah, Four Kids just connect to like, I have this magic cube that will dissolve you. It's like, okay, that's all we need for this film. I don't need the 0 point field to be invoked.
Yeah.
It is interesting though. Four Kids is famous for their edits and their censorship. They left the guns in the movie because
Yeah,
they
no
got
more
rid of the
fingers.
invisible Yu-Gi-Oh guns.
Yeah. I miss the fingers, man.
Fingers. Like I will say, the thing I do like about this, like genuinely, I think is actually pretty good about this movie. It's not the plot. It's how Yugi and Kaiba deal with their grief over losing Atem in two extremely different ways, and how they are both grieving because okay, spoiler alert for an over 20-year-old manga. At the end of the series, Atem Yami Yugi, he goes to the Egyptian afterlife. He gets to be in the duat, which is what his ultimate reward is. That's the whole point of the final battle with him and Yugi, is to say that Yugi can stand on his own and now he can go get his eternal reward in the field of reeds, right? Uh Seto Kaiba doesn't like that. Seto Kaiba doesn't like that at all. Yugi is trying to accept it and is sad and misses him, but isn't trying to break into the duat a la Moon Knight. So
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting post-credit scene or final coda then.
Yeah,
But
where
do
Kaiba jumps in his little shuttle and goes to the Egyptian afterlife.
do we just want to tackle that really fast
sure.
before
That
we talk about
is,
anything else? Like the way this movie ends, ultimately, like everybody else is like going their separate ways and doing what they're gonna do and growing up, and Seto Kaiba is like, this acceptance shit, nah, screw that. I'm going to bust open the gates of the Egyptian afterlife, show up, and duel with my not boyfriend. Like, I'm sorry. It's so the level of that is so interesting. And Kaiba is rich and could afford a therapist. Just throwing it out there.
I mean, with
He
the first one of the first times we see him, he takes the space elevator just glowering the entire time. So yes, he is rich enough to afford a therapist.
he built a space elevator, runs a dystopian state because apparently he knows that Yugi has something in his house because he can film in Yugi's house somehow, which
Oh
we
yeah.
we never touch on. It's like, yeah, no, it feels like a sequel hook, but it wasn't a sequel hook. That this was pretty much well until they do bring Kaiba back later. I think is it GX or Zexel he reappears, but
He reappears in GX because he opened the dueling academy.
that's it. But it all he really is there is someone who is like, I fund all the dueling.
Yeah.
I don't have like a plot of my own anymore. I'm just here to be like, we need a reason why everyone is dueling. Kaiba has set up another tournament.
Track.
It Kaiba. I remember the first time I ever watched this movie because I have a soft spot in my heart for Yu-Gi-Oh, as we all know. It's why I have that sweet sweet ancient Egyptian linguistics degree. Um, but like this ending when Kaiba does that, that did kind of slap me upside the head and be like, what? Excuse me?
So
Uh,
yeah, this is the first time I've seen this one. I'll be
oh
honest with you.
no.
I didn't, watch it in like 2016 when it came out or in the intervening years until now. And I remember sitting down because it's available on Prime Video and
For
just being
free.
like, all right, let's take a look at this thing. Oh, 119 minutes. Oh, okay. Or so, somewhere thereabouts. Fine. Just watching all of this. Let me step out of the room for a second. Oh, we're still going when I get back. Okay. All right.
What's that? Yugi summoned another card. Uh, it's funny because I remembered hating this ending, and I was like, I couldn't remember why, and I realized, oh, I'd forgotten all the Diva stuff because I'm like, Kaiba versus Atem again, while Kaiba is literally on fire at this point with like these shadow particles. We just stopped. Like, why were we dealing with Bakura here? What kill Bakura, get rid of him. We don't want him.
Everybody loves Bakura. He's got that accent that all the girls love.
If I start talking like that, please do the humane thing and put me down.
What? You don't think Bakura's very like on point British accent is correct?
He's, I was trying to place where that accent was meant to be, and it's like if Dick Van Dyke had a head injury, I think is the answer.
Oh, it makes you, especially when you have like little kid Bakura who's possessed by Thief King Bakura slash Zork.
I love that Bakura's more of the supporting character here than Yugi is really, because his Millennium Ring sets off so many random plot points. The Millennium Ring has a good outing here. Like it possesses three people.
Yeah. I mean, it. I think it also kind of speaks to the story they're telling. Like Yugi's plot is wrapped up. Like Yugi doesn't have more plot to go through. Like Bakura is still PTSD'd over the fact that he was possessed by like not just an ancient homicidal thief king, but also parts of this one maybe god with a dragon penis. Y'all haven't looked at pictures of Zork, and I can tell. Look it up. Don't turn off safe search.
Uh,
Don't accidentally start playing the game Return to Zork. That's a very different thing.
yeah.
No gentles in that.
But yeah, like Joey Joey is here to kind of carry the comedic relief, and man, that voice actor is so freaking funny. Like his delivery is so on point.
I mean, it's still Brooklyn is all get out, right? That's kind of the appeal with the
From
four
the
kids stuff.
easternmost part of Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
He like chews the scenery on every single line. Like every line he's delivered 110%. He is enjoying every single moment of it, which I think really helps some of those lines because they are delivered with full gusto.
Oh yeah, the wrestling move he puts Tristan in, like, and like it's I just have to give like an appreciation for this voice cast because it's so easy to take the piss out of four kids dubs because they're not great dubs, but the Yu-Gi-Oh cast is always having fun, and Dan Green is still being Dan Green, still fantastic. Also, shout out to Seto Kaiba for perfectly coiffing Yugi's hair.
Yeah.
Yes, when he's running down the what he wants to tend like his perfectly coiffed hair. So
That took me the longest.
you get like a little bit where what you see one of the scientists in the background just have like a face of bloody hell. Like, how do you react to this question?
Mokuba in his little suit too, and he didn't get kidnapped this time. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, Mokuba is dressed like Bobby Hill in that episode of King of the Hill when they sort of go to the south and he becomes like a Creole gentleman.
That's my puzzle. I don't know you.
Uh,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
should also,
like yeah. Go ahead.
so we should also note that part of the reason bits of this film don't make any sense is that there was a prequel manga called Yu-Gi-Oh! Transcend Game that kind of explains why Kaiba's new duel disc can block out dissolve cubes, and why Sarah already knows him because they met when they were dueling on the cloud, as in the computering term. Not they weren't on a cloud. That would have been better. But
I don't know. At this
Dueled
point,
in the
I don't
clouds
know.
before. I think they've dueled in the. There's
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
have been a duel in the clouds.
it's just how it's prescribed in Transcend Game because they don't have the visuals. It basically does feel like they're having a conversation over email. So it is kind of like Sarah has been like being like, yeah. So by the way, the world's ending. We're the planner, by the way. Yeah, go to our website and there's all the information there. We want to rule the world. Just letting you know.
I do think this is Kaiba's movie. Just straight up, this is his movie.
It
He's
should
the
be
driving
Kaiba's movie.
force. Yeah, it's he's the most interesting thing in it, frankly, because just of how, I think Kaiba kind of outdoes Vegeta and how single-mindedly he wants to his revenge or his, you know, to always kind of come out on top. So yeah, no,
Find
Seto Kaiba is the most interesting thing
find someone who looks at you the same way Seto Kaiba looks at Yami Yugi.
Yeah, yeah.
I think even to the
It's not
point.
it's not the children of the damned children that show up like in purple form.
They don't
Yeah.
matter.
Oh yeah, the children of the planner who he can summon up, which are basically they describe it in the Japanese. He's basically like network computing himself, so they all think together because it's like so like how the Cybermen will sometimes pull in other Cybermen as backup units, except just kind of useless. I kind of thought at some point they would do something, but they don't really. They just kind of turn up and look a bit evil.
Yeah. And, deliver a piece of the Millennium Puzzle to Yugi.
Well, that's Sarah though. She's not purple,
Yeah.
so she's her own separate entity who can leave the house.
That's true. That is
Yeah,
very
because
true.
Diva's whole thing is he has a sister called Sarah. They're brothers and sisters. They were picked up. Her and their orphans were saved by Shin. What's his name? Not Shin.
It is Shin. So he has a couple of names. Shin, Shoddy, couple of names.
Shardy, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, so he's the one who tells them all about. Yeah, we got to keep the world. When the pharaoh goes back to the afterlife, we'll get this magical power to reshape the world. But if he ever comes back, it's gone. Yeah, when Dad comes back, we have to stop all the mischief. And that's
Dare I ask, how was this
no.
movie received? Because I feel like it came out after Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe had the staying power that you would think it had, like globally, not just here, but in Japan as well.
It made a good amount of money. It was a decent success, as sort of as good as you would expect for these kind of thing. It reviewed poorly, as you would expect. However, if you remember back from Pyramid of Light, there are a lot less reviews of it, and they're a lot less vitriolic. 40% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 76% audience score. The reviews are pretty much this makes no sense. Which, yeah, for a critic review, you're going to think that. The main review I liked for this is Charles Solomon from the LA Times, who said the dark side suffers from too much story and too little story simultaneously. And I was like, actually, that fits what I'm feeling about this film.
I could see it doing okay too, because like 2016, 2017, I was 26, 27 around that time. Like that's a nostalgia bomb for people my age who grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh! Like this is, and especially for the 4Kids dub, you're getting all of that back. So I can see people my age being like, yeah, let's go to the theater and have a good time. What were the cards that got released with it? I'm assuming it's
all the new dragons, the lemon and the apple, which was the big one.
I want those cards.
I believe the kids call the female line of witches gender these days. Because yeah, they're cute. Also, the new Karibo was released, the clear Karibo, who you see for exactly 13 seconds.
Ooh.
I think all the new Max. I love how Kaiba's dragons get increasingly longer names. I was kind of hoping when everyone came back from the graveyard, it would get another adjective. So like the final 10 minutes of the film would be him naming one of them.
You really hate dragons, don't you, Yugi?
That was one of my favorite lines because like, it's like maybe you
Again,
like them a little too much.
best lines came from Kaiba the whole film. It also is interesting to me that Kaiba has such a capitalist dictatorship over this one city.
Yeah,
Like,
Diva brings that up, and we never kind of do anything with it.
and he's
Like,
had it forever.
it's like if they say, "Oh, you're a king, but the worst kind of king." It's like you think that's okay. Well, that's going to be sort of Diva's like redemption arc or Kaiba's redemption. No, no, no. Diva just gets worse because he gets Millennium Puzzled, and then Kaiba just like, actually, being a dictator's pretty sweet.
Yeah. The entire economy of this city runs on card games, and like Kaiba has to be one of the biggest employers in the city. Like half the city has to work for Kaiba.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he has to pay Pegasus a bit for licensing, but after that,
Yeah.
Pegasus, to be fair, canonically, since this is after the manga, Pegasus has been long dead. Like,
Well,
I mean, his estate.
yeah, but yeah, Pegasus. For those of you who don't know and only ever watched the anime, Pegasus was murdered by Bakura after the Duelist Kingdom arc. Like, Bakura ripped the Millennium Eye out of his head and killed him.
But Pegasus is 100% one of those people who has like one of his toon monsters, and that is his estate. Like those old ladies who give all their money to their cat. He is one of those people. So Kaiba has to go for a year and give this like toon dragon 50 quid. Like, there you go. Oh,
Until he buys the company.
bribes a toon dragon with I don't know, copies of Roger Rabbit. In case you're curious, a film made $9 million in the US and about
hey.
7,500,000 in Japan. So yeah, overall a decent success.
Right now.
Sam is upset that it made money.
Yeah,
I
maybe a
mean,
little.
didn't make that much money. But for a Shonen Jump, obviously these films always have quite limited appeal because yeah, you've got to have seen the show and
Yeah. Still not as much as Pyramid of Light in 2000 like $4.
yeah.
But
The
then again, that
Pyramid
was
of
like the peak of Yu-Gi-Oh back then, or peak-ish.
the
I guess
Yu-Gi-Oh movies do not care if you know what's going on. There's not going to be anything. There's no My Hero Academia. This was the first child that lit up. There's none of this like, oh, I'm going to be the greatest hero. None of that crap. You're just getting dropped right in.
one man and his dragon.
It's like the Dark Souls of anime.
Yeah.
I
What's the
also
Millennium
think
Puzzle? Who knows? What's the Millennium Ring? Who knows?
Who cares?
who's Bakura? Who knows?
There are four of them running around, so you're good luck.
I do think it's the thing to point out that I think this kind of is when the anime novelty, because a lot of those early sort of the first Yu-Gi-Oh films, the Pokemon film, did quite well because there was a massive novelty factor to having those movies even exist or come out. It was never guaranteed they'd even get home releases, so you would see older fans go to the cinema to see them. Where this is coming to the point where stuff, yeah, 4Kids is releasing DVDs regularly, importing is getting easier, so people are just more like, well, I can get this on home now. So if I'm a 30-year-old man, I don't have to go to the cinema for the children's screening of Yu-Gi-Oh! And explain that to the parents.
I will admit, hearing a lot of the music from the CD that 4Kids released, Music to Duel by, in the background of this movie makes me so genuinely happy. Like, there was some good, weird music that came out of Yu-Gi-Oh! And they have, like, Seto Kaiba's weird, like, post-cyberpunk theme playing in the background. They have a couple of... And it's awesome. It's just fun. I'm sorry.
We all love how much of a moody, sad boy Seto Kaiba is. Like
Oh,
that's why
it's
everything's like always dark when he's kind of walking around on his own or in his space station.
Which
that's what makes it cooler.
it's so funny when he's like now with Mokuba, who's like dressed in all pastel. It's like
Yeah.
Mokuba's like, come on, big brother. Like My Chemical Romance have broken up. It's time to move on.
Yeah. The
Hey,
Black
you know,
Parade is disbanded.
look, if I had the money to have a dragon-shaped jet that I could jump out of safely, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna look however I want.
Can we talk about there is a jump jet on that, which is right where the dragon Juno what would be. And we get a lovely lingering shot of it in this. Especially funny because that isn't in the manga. In the manga, Kaiba's jet was an F-14 sort of, I think it was Hellcat or Tomcat, because that Kaiba Corp used to be a weapons manufacturer. So that this was the first time in Transcend game this jet appears, which makes it even funnier to me in the idea that Kaiba just one day was like, I like that Hellcat, but I could make it dragon. Like he's going around his house, slowly finding anything that isn't dragon shaped and making it dragon shaped. Like now Atem's gone. I've got a lot of free time.
To be fair, in some of the filler arcs in Yu-Gi-Oh, the Dragon Jet does show up beforehand, so there is precedent to the Dragon Jet. But not to get too deep in the Yu-Gi-Oh lore, but Seto Kaiba's past life, the High Priest Set, fell in love with this girl whose soul became the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is why he's obsessed with dragons now.
That's one does.
That's why his cards are always sticky. Got it.
Yeah.
We also note this film was designed for 4D cinemas.
Oh.
Hence why we get a lot of. Hence why the last battle, everything flies at the camera like you're watching Muppet Vision 3D. This did lead to my favorite piece of promotion before this film came in America. If you went to Six Flags for 2 weekends, you could watch the film, and all the promotions like, oh, a special way to watch the film. And I'm like, it's going to be in their 4D cinema. No, it's just on their in-resort TV network. They had a preview of it of like, I think the last 10 minutes.
That's weird. That's really weird.
But my favorite thing is Six Flags' ending of the announcement of it was the park will also have volunteers demonstrating the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, not the employees.
8 hours.
We just got some random people and some cards. It's like, look, this is the laziest promotion you could have done.
Look, I played in Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments back in the day when I was but a wee child. I'm gonna be straight up. It is an exploitable mess of a game that even back then was like impossible. How you could teach anyone in under 3 hours to play this game, I don't understand.
I desperately imagine there was a kid who watched the preview had to be one of the battles, surely. They wouldn't be just Kaiba moping. I bet it would be the church battle, actually, now I think about it, which is a fact.
It does look very good.
But then that kid would go there and be like, can I do this? No. Can I summon this? No. Or he plays this combo, that's illegal. You actually, sorry, you've got to spend 4 turns doing this. But by the way, I've played Pot of Greed and I've cycled my deck, so now I've got all the Egyptian gods, so you lose automatically.
Well, 2016, 2017, Pot of Greed would have still been tournament illegal, I think.
Do you think these volunteers would be following tournament rules?
Fair enough.
If I'm volunteering at a Six Flags to spend my day, like that's like a low down job. I'm not following tournament rules. These kids will learn shuffle engines the hard way.
Yeah. Just like I did in the trenches.
I kind of imagine. Do you imagine like would Wizards have still been printing Pokemon at this time? No, it would have been properly. But I can kind of imagine them being like getting a load of their guys overnight, sending them across as like sleeper agents to purposely teach the game poorly. It's like, can't have the kids getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Ruin it.
I want to know the recruitment process for these volunteers. Like, what kind of ad were they putting out there being like, must be this? How did you interview for this as a volunteer?
Seriously, if you're one of the people who were involved in this, please, I can find 0 pictures of this because I don't think it was even like we have a room for it. I think it may have just been tables outside.
That's amazing. I'm so mad I didn't see that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was. I said, theme park people are obsessive. Like, you can find information on any. If a thing was in a Disney park, you can find information on it, even if it was there for a day. This, I can find nothing. So I was like, that's very unusual.
Something had to have gone down. Somebody's soul got sent to the Shadow Realm.
The world's first Yu-Gi-Oh fight.
It became a brawl.
I've never actually been to a Six Flags, but from what I understand, they're pretty low rent as far as chain theme parks go here in the US.
Not during Fright Fest. Fright Fest is the best.
Sure, but this isn't Fright Fest.
Yeah, this is Yugi Fest. It does kind of fit for kids that they would, because I kind of, when I first saw it, I was like, it's gonna be like what they do, like fake a Kaiba World kind of thing. No.
No, they're going to have a roller coaster based off Nightwing, which is actually, on paper, pretty awesome.
Oh
on
right,
paper.
yeah. I think it's Six Flags that has the Batman coaster that famously destroys your testicles.
Yes, because
Yes.
Warner Brothers has a stake in Six Flags, which is why they have all the DC hero superhero. And also, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is WB. Was it WB Kids or
Yeah,
something like
it was
that?
WB Kids. Yeah.
So they probably have still had the licensing to some degree. So they're like, oh, we have this theme park. We'll just do this.
We'll
So
destroy your testicles on Batman and destroy your mind with Yu-Gi-Oh! So 1-2 punch.
before we get into final thoughts, I do have to ask because it's
Uh-huh.
important. Now, having seen the very end of Yu-Gi-Oh,
Hmm.
of the first series of Yu-Gi-Oh, who shines as your favorite character in the film and why?
It's Kaiba. It's Seto Kaiba. It's because why? Because he's the ultimate hater. He's true. He's high on that haterade, and he does it in style. Anyone who tele sacrifices himself just to get his nemesis back in the final duel, and then somehow finds a way to teleport his consciousness or body or whatever into the Egyptian afterlife to fight said nemesis again in something that we never see or get resolved to the best of my knowledge. Yes, he's going to stand out in some way to me.
Kaiba feels like an opera character who has somehow ended up in a shonen anime. Like he does feel like he's about to sing like a devastating aria about the loss of his innocence at any moment, and that's why I love him.
I'd kill for that aria, but but yeah, Kaiba is clearly the runaway here for very good reason. I do love how much all the other characters just kind of dragged along with his insanity. But it is time for final thoughts, my friends. So, what are your final thoughts on what I've inflicted upon you this week?
It's not the worst thing we've ever watched, and it's not the worst thing you've ever inflicted on us.
I love how
Accurate.
low that bar has gotten now.
That
It's
low
not,
has
and I
got
don't
that
have
bar.
room. I don't have room to talk either, to be clear.
It is not the worst thing I've ever shown you, but fair.
Yeah. I still might win on that score with Boom Boom Sabotage. I might, just overall. But yeah, this a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. Just a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, this I say a lot on this podcast that being 1 hour can hide a lot of sins. The opposite of that is being 2 hours 10 minutes can reveal a lot of sins. This movie isn't terrible. It's just hard to recommend. When I came into this, I remembered all the Kaiba bits. I had forgotten Diva's stuff, and now I kind of want to go back to that world because Diva's story. Like, there's a really nice Kaiba Yugi story here with them being like, okay, we've got to move on, and Kaiba like, no, I will have my kiss if it kills me, god damn it. And then you've kind of just got Diva just here being like, ooh, we're going to do third impact, but not well. It's so hard because it's just that middle section is such a drag where it's just very little of note happens. And yeah, if you have 2 hours free, you could do worse. I said you could, I don't know, put a screwdriver up your nose or something.
You could
But
also sleep.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think you've got to. I wouldn't recommend this unless you really liked Kaiba.
Like I can agree with that. I liked the movie for a couple of different reasons, mainly because I like Yu-Gi-Oh and because I like Kaiba. I think that this is one of the best looking Yu-Gi-Oh things out there. The movie looks fantastic. Like the soundtrack is fun. If you are not a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, this movie does not care about you at all. You will be lost. So that is the main piece of warning. And I do think that this is the kind of movie that you guys are right. Like the middle section drags, and if they removed all the stuff with Diva and just focused on Seto Kaiba trying to like break the space time continuum to get his kiss, I think that that would be okay. Because just sidebar, Atem is happy when he sees Kaiba. Like we get that little smirk at the
Oh, he
end, and then
smiles.
boom,
Yeah.
he's happy. Like boom, credits. But yeah, like I think it's fun. I think it's not the worst way you could spend 2 hours. I do think finding another activity to do while you're watching it as background noise is the best way to go. If you're not a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, and if you are a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, you've already watched this movie and you've already put the clips up on YouTube. That's really how this works. But we have pulled into our final destination, which is not the duat. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
and we'll see you next time. It's time to duel.